February has arrived, always with a welcome entrance, I might add. Our theme this month is love. It's highly recommended. And today's topic is Love Stirs Our Heart. With the arrival of the month of February each year, our thoughts tend to turn to thoughts of love and candy and flowers and Valentine cards, those things that are popularly aligned with love, or demonstrations of it in our tangible world. How nice that is to bring symbols of joy to others and to receive them from others, to make outward gestures and expressions of feelings that we have inside toward the people who matter the most in our lives. I was looking for a particular poem on the internet, and when I typed in the word love to the search engine, it came back with this message. There are 100,00572 pages about love. Which one do you want? I decided that was more than you wanted to hear, even in a whole month. As you can see, though, we're going to address love each Sunday this month because there are so many facets to it, so many faces of it, so much depth in it. Dr. Ernest Holmes calls love a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. Any one of us who has ever experienced even an instant of being in love can certainly attest to that. And, Holmes says, love is the self-givingness of spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. In other words, what he's saying here is, first of all, love is everywhere. It's a cosmic force. Second, love is unavoidable. Its sweep is irresistible. Third, love is a gift, the self-givingness of spirit. Fourth, love is complete expression, God expressing itself through its creation, you and me. But there's a still greater message here, I believe, and that message is that everyone, everywhere, all the time, is surrounded by this exquisite and all-embracing force. Denying it doesn't alter it, fearing it doesn't damage it, and ignoring it doesn't eliminate it. When we come to understand that we have been created by and out of love, we come to realize that it is the driving, abiding, all-encompassing force in our lives. So this month, I want to explore with you the ways in which love works and how it shows up in the four basic areas of our lives: the heart, the emotions, the soul, and the spirit. Today we begin by expanding on something we already know to be true, that love stirs our heart. Oscar Wilde, the playwright, had something to say about almost everything, and he usually said it with flair and style. True to form, he said, "To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance." I believe that to love oneself is to honor and to acknowledge the source of our creation. For God so loved the world is the beginning of a saga that has no end in sight. We are created by love, out of love, so to love ourselves goes to the very core of the creative process. There's a contemporary saying that ends, "And God don't make no junk." Loving ourselves is absolutely necessary if we believe that God don't make no junk. So when we acknowledge the source of our being, and we acknowledge that this source is perfect, whole, and complete, we must then acknowledge that we are that same goodness, that same marvelous creative expression made manifest. That is to say, expressing in this human form, in this experience called life. We're not junk, so we shouldn't act like it. That is a part of the process of discovering and honoring our authentic self. Sarah Ann Bracknick, in her book on simple abundance, puts it this way. One of the surprises that comes when you catch glimpses of your authentic self is the discovery that, in truth, you are a positive, upbeat person. You smile, you feel, and exhibit calmness. You exude confidence. She goes on to say, "Who is this person, you ask yourself, and do they bear any resemblance to me?" The answer is, this is who you are on the inside. This is the real you, the authentic you. If you don't act this way all the time, it's only because you are still evolving to a higher plane of existence. Well, aren't we all? Because that's why we're here. To learn, to grow, to catch those glimpses, to experience the thrill and the sweetness of discovery about your higher self. And to tap into the source of our spiritual energy, that loving, giving, unjudging source that is the epitome of self-love. You know, God really has the most imaginative ways of teaching us some lessons. When I stop to really look at how creative God can be in providing me with opportunities to get the message, sometimes I just have to laugh. I mean, sometimes this universal creative energy isn't even subtle. For example, if you're an animal lover like I am, you know that God has never created an ugly puppy or kitten. I have never seen one that I didn't instantly love. Talk about stirring my heart. Or perhaps you love to garden or raise flowers. Ever seen an ugly flower? Even weeds have an intrinsic beauty to them, primarily because they are not diminished by the opinion of anyone else. Weeds are only weeds because someone has put judgment on them. Many of them have beautiful flowers. Most of them grow prolifically, and all of them have purpose, even if that purpose is just to exercise our knees and our elbows in eliminating them from our flower beds. Universal Mind has shown us there is a way to open our hearts to love by providing us with magnificent visual displays of color and lushness right in our own backyards or in the potted plants we keep in our homes. And who among us hasn't been captivated at one time or another by watching an infant discover its fingers and toes, or seeing it discover the wonder of movement and color from a toy or a mobile hung above its head? For those of you who enjoy the thrill and the satisfaction of physical activity, God has provided two ways to stir your hearts. One is to participate in activities that challenge the body and the mind, activities that open you up to increasing your skills, your speed, your awareness, your agility, your fun. These may be competitive activities like tennis, basketball, or they may be individual sports like running, swimming, golf, skiing. Doesn't matter which they are. You do them because you love to, even when the score, so to speak, is not in your favor, or the drive off the tee hooks into the trees. You do them because your heart is stirred by how you feel, knowing you are going to play, by how you feel while you play, and how you feel afterward, looking back on the fun and the exertion and the accomplishment. The other way God has provided us with a stirring of the heart in physical activity is by way of watching others participate. Whether it's watching a child or grandchild hit that first ball off the tee in Pee Wee baseball, or watching the San Francisco Giants in the opening game of the World Series. Watching local elementary and high school teams play soccer, or the Los Angeles Rams and the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl today. We're moved, our hearts are opened through the spirit of sport. These are some of the lessons, the messages that God provides to us in the world around us. These are ways we learn love through acceptance and appreciation. Divine intelligence teaches us in the subtle ways I've just mentioned to open our hearts, to love, through appreciation of what is around us, through acceptance of our own special part in it, through the stirring of our hearts. Long ago, St. Ignatius said, "The glory of God is the human being fully alive." I say, the glory of God is you and me fully alive. And the way we come fully alive is to express our love in a balanced and authentic way. We recognize that this thing called love is made evident through each of us. We accept that we are made of it, and express it in our own lives, our own actions, our own experiences. Our hearts are stirred by the action of loving ourselves. We recognize that we are constantly provided with examples, tangible evidences of what love looks like, feels like, smells like, and acts like. These examples are like training wheels, wherein we learn acceptance and appreciation of that which surrounds us. Our hearts are stirred by this recognition that we are immersed in love, that it's all around us. Then we can take those experiences of self-love, of acceptance, of appreciation, and experience love in balanced and authentic ways by expressing it to those around us, to those who light that special spark in us. There's an old saying about making your way through the terminal illness ward of a hospital, trying to find somebody who wishes they'd spent more time at the office or more time making money. How often the moment of transition comes, and our most poignant regret is the time we didn't spend with our loved ones, the things we didn't say, or the things we did say and wish now that we hadn't. In those giddy moments of early love, we want to be with that special person all the time. We want to tell them everything we're feeling. We want to be there for them, to do the same with us. We are driven to give them things, to do what pleases them, to be theirs. But then comes the morning you wake up to the realization they have morning breath. They have an unsightly mold of black hair growing out of it. They have habits that bug you. What happened? What changed? Wayne Dyer used to say that when he hears someone say they have found their soulmate because that person loves all the same things, says all the same things, and does all the same things, when he heard that description of a love relationship, he said he gave it 6 months or 2 weeks, whichever came first. Because what love stirs in our heart, where the human equation is concerned, is the opportunity to fill ourselves out. Life is about discovering ourselves and growing through that. If your soulmate, your lover, your spouse is exactly like you, where is your chance to round yourself out, to become more than you already are? In the blush of a new relationship, we're usually fascinated by what this person knows that we don't know, by what this person can do that we can't already do, by what he or she is passionate about. But sometimes, after we get to know each other, we begin to look for what we can change in that person, especially if it's something that's different than we are. So we pick them because they're different, and then we set to work to try and make them the same as we are. But if we will just take a moment, every time we find ourselves irritated with our mate, with our child, with our parent, with our relative, if we will just take a moment to remember, love is a self-givingness of spirit. Love is what God gives each of us unconditionally, even though each of us is different from every other. Love can only be given. It can never be taken. Loving another can only occur when we love ourselves first and completely. And then to see that irritating situation through the eyes of love. For as we see anyone or anything through the eyes of love, our heart cannot help but be stirred to new heights of feeling, of understanding, of acceptance. As Ken Kais so aptly put it, love is not a matter of what happens in life. It's a matter of what's happening in your heart. Let what's happening in your heart be the giving of love to those who matter to you in every moment of your life. Take a look at the things that bug you about the people you love and realize how superfluous those things are in comparison to the real things that brought you to love them to begin with. Remember the true meaning of love, whether it's your spouse, your child, your elderly parent, your sister-in-law, or your significant other. As you know, I rarely quote from the Bible, but this topic reminds me of a passage that is really appropriate here. This is from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and I'm paraphrasing. Regardless of who I am or what I can do, if I don't have love in my heart, I have nothing. Though I have all knowledge and faith, if I don't have love in my heart, I have nothing. Even if I give to those who have not, if I don't have love in my heart, I have nothing. Love is ongoing and kind. Love does not envy or boast. Love does not behave badly. Love is not provoked or tempted. Love rejoices in the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Follow love, for love never fails. Marcia Sinitar, in her essay on Who Speaks, says this: only love heals, makes whole, takes us beyond ourselves. Love gets us there. Love lets us know who speaks. Who speaks? God speaks. In all the real and precious moments of our lives, God speaks to us through its giving of unconditional love. In the most unforgettable moments of our lives, it's love stirring deep within our hearts that brings the tears, the joy, the excitement, and the desire for more of these expressions of connectedness with our source. It is love that stirs the heart, and it is love that is our highest expression of self. And so it is.